Hey there everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. It's about 55 degrees. It's crisp. The leaves are turning colors and falling. It's just a great day to be outside. Thought what I'd do is talk a little bit about something I picked up at Walmart this week. So I went down to Walmart and they've got a display with the $7.97 multi-tools. Now, last year these were on sale. You could get them at Christmas for $5. This year up to $7.97. So I guess that's tariffs. I don't know what it is. But this is an interesting little multi-tool. It's very budget friendly. But the question is it as good as the other Ozark Trail multi-tool that sells for like $12? So we're going to take these two multi-tools, we're going to compare them and see how they do against each other. Honestly, I think there's a big difference, and I think there's one where you really ought to spend your money and the other one where you shouldn't. So let's just go take a look at these two multi-tools from Ozark Trail. So what I want to look at today is the Ozark Trail. They call it the Trail Side 12-in-1 multi-tool. Comes in a little package like this, hangs on a little hook on a display. You'll see it usually over in the knife section of your local Walmart. It comes in several different colors, as you can see here. Comes in this blue, also comes in a black and a silver. Now, that costs $7.97, so it's a pretty good deal. What you get is you get the multi-tool. You also get a vinyl sheath for it to carry on your belt. It's exactly the same sheath as the $12 multi-tool that we'll look at, so that I think the sheaths are exactly identical. The difference is in the manufacture or the workmanship in these items. So let's just take this apart and take a look at it. I'm just going to rip into the package. And so what you get is you get this multi-tool right here. And so there's your multi-tool. And you also get the package. I don't know how they attach this. This is interesting. So you're going to have to rip the package. So what's interesting is they made these packages. Last year they made these packages so you could take this thing out, you could work it, and you could put it back in and take it back. Can't really do that. So the first thing I notice is this multi-tool compared to the regular Ozark Trail multi-tool is going to be constructed differently. So first of all, this is going to be a much more substantial looking multi-tool. The sides are not cut out as much as they are on this one. This is bigger. The teeth on the pliers are going to be bigger. You can see that. And it's going to be much lighter. This one is much lighter than the $12 one. So when I look at this, first of all, first thing I notice, it is spring loaded with the pliers, which is nice. But if you can see right in here, there's a little exposed spring. That would give me some cause or some pause because I'd be afraid I'd lose that spring. That spring is exposed and it could easily come out of there. This one, there is no exposed or obvious spring. The spring is built into the mechanism itself, so you don't have an exposed spring on it. So this other, the $8 tool, it does have little cutting teeth in it for cutting wire and such. It does have the little wrench space in here, so you can grab onto something and wrench with it. And it's got the nice sort of, it's sort of a needle nose plier on this. This one is more of a square nose. You can see it's not quite as much a needle nose as this one. And again, it's substantially, the $12 one is substantially larger. Now what you've got is you've got some, let's look at the blades that are on this thing. First thing you've got on this is, let's look at the knife blade. The knife blade comes out of this, and I will tell you, be careful with these. These are always extremely sharp right out of the package. One objection I have is that this, as I have with any multi-tool, I think these knife blades should lock in place. There's no locking mechanism whatsoever in this tool. In addition, with the knife, and I'm going to close this because I don't believe in having the knife open when you open other items. Other items you've got over on this side, you've got a sort of a can opener here. The can opener is very sharp on the point, so be careful with it. It's also got a little bottle opener built into it down at the bottom here. So you've got the can opener and the bottle opener. You got this, I'm not too sure exactly what this is. It's got kind of a small little blade on it, not particularly sharp. Maybe that's your awl, I suppose. And then up here, you've got another item. You've got a Phillips head screwdriver, and I'm not too sure what that is right there, but you've got it anyway. So that's what you've got on this side is the knife blade. You've got the awl, you've got a combination can opener, bottle opener, and you've got a Phillips head screwdriver and some other little tool that I'm not sure what it is. Now, over on the other side, and by the way, if you need the back of the card to tell what these tools are, I think you're in a little trouble. So they ought to be self-evident. So there's another blade. This is more, they call it a serrated edge. Let's see what they actually call it on the back of the card. See, on the card, they call this a, let's see, they call it a saw. I don't know if I call that a saw, but it looks a little bit like a saw. It's more like a, I guess you could call that a saw blade. So it's got a little saw blade on it. Again, this does not lock in place, so that if you're sawing with this thing and you're sawing away and it catches, it could easily close on your finger. I think the way to do this is to pull it out and then do it, and then if it closes, if it does close, it's not going to close on your finger. So I would saw with it closed like this, and saw that way. If it closes down, it's not going to close down on your finger. Let's see what else other tools we've got in here. We've got also in here let's see if we can get this out. Here's your file, and it's got both a crosshatch file here and a crosshatch file there. So this file on this side is a little bit finer, I guess, than that file. I don't know. You got a medium head screwdriver and a small head screwdriver right here. So you got two different screwdrivers along with your file. And again, I don't like to open my blades at the same time as I open all the other tools. I just think that's a little dangerous. Again, that does not lock at all. There wasn't a whole lot of thought given to how this would feel in your hand as you're working with it. If you're working with this substantially with those pliers, that's going to, these edges right here are going to bother you a little bit. And they could easily get bent too. This is not a very substantial metal, I don't believe. Now, the biggest objection I have to this is two. Number one, the spring is exposed. Whether it's open or closed, that spring is exposed. And the knife blades do not lock in place at all. Now, let's compare this to the $12 blade. Again, with the knife, if I'm working the knife, by the way, I would close this down and work with the knife in that fashion. I would not work with this knife with the whole thing open, because it could close down on your finger. So let's take a look at the $12 multi-tool. So this is the $12 tool. It's a little bit bigger. As I said, the pliers are not true needle nose pliers. They're more like a square nose plier. But they have the same function, though they're just a little bigger than the other ones. Now, what do we have for tools? Now, the tools on this one, here's a big difference. This one, the tools, you had to open it up to get to the tools, okay? The tools are sort of on the outside of the handle. This one, the tools are on the inside of the handle, so you can use it without the pliers having to be open. So I could pull out the blades. I could pull out my knife blade, which I think is here. Yeah, that's my knife blade. The knife blade now that's a small knife blade. You actually have two knife blades on this, so that's their small knife blade. The knife blade on this is not substantially larger than the knife blade on this one. That's a little bit bigger, maybe. There's your two knife blades. I'm not really impressed with the knife blade on either one of these. Matter of fact, the knife blade on the cheaper one is a little bit longer. You have a little bit more cutting space with it. Both of these are very sharp right out of the box. I've used this one quite a bit. Again, my problem is this does not lock into place. Now, it's got sort of a lock there. At least it snugs into place, but it can fold back down. So if you're using this one and you're cutting with something and it catches and you pull back, this could easily close down on your finger and cut your finger like that if you're not careful. So again, I don't like multi-tools, generally speaking, that don't lock. This has, again, a fish scaler on it and a little hook here, hook remover, they call it. I've got here a Phillips head screwdriver, and I've got a file also on this side with this one. Sort of similar to that one, the same tools basically. This one has a saw. It's a little more substantial saw, I think, than the other one. But again, I have this problem. If I'm sawing, this one could collapse down on me very easily. It could catch, and as I'm sawing, this could catch. My hand could go down, and I could very easily get my knuckles on this, and that would mess my day up really quick. When you cut your knuckles, that really is bad, especially if you're in the woods, because you're using that all the time. A more substantial awl on this than I think you get on the other multi-tool. You also have a couple things. You've got a can opener and a bottle opener here for this. This has a screwdriver on it. And you get this other little tool here. It's like a little hook. So you get a little eye hook if you wanted to tie this onto something or something. You got a little eye hook. You can hang this on a hook, hang this on a carabiner or something like that that pops up. So they both have about the same number of tools. The big difference is, I think, the $12 one is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit easier to work with, particularly if you are working with the pliers. This is going to be a little bit more comfortable on your hand. hands, I think, than otherwise. It just feels a little more comfortable on your hands. The spring is not exposed in this one, though it isn't exposed in this one here. And again, you can see that spring very clearly. But I'm going to tell you, I was able to make curls much better with the cheap one than I was with the other one. The more expensive one has a different kind of grind on the and I had a much tougher time making curls with this one. The curls are much thicker. This one's much thinner. So the cheaper one was much better at making curls than the more expensive one. So if I was going to buy one of these, do you want to spend $8 basically on this one or $12 on this one? I think this is probably a better tool. It's going to last you longer. It's going to be more comfortable in your hand. It's a little heavier than this one is, but for only $7.97, $8, this is not a bad little tool, except that just be ready. This, at some point, this spring is going to pop out of here and you're going to lose that spring and you're going to be up the creek. You're not going to have your spring-loaded pliers anymore. So that's something to think about. Again, they both fit in the same, I think essentially they both have exactly the same tool. And actually, gosh, I don't know. The one for the black set may be just a tad bit bigger. I don't know. I hate to live on the difference in these. It's a tad bit larger, but not terribly. But they do each come with a nylon sheath that you can then hang on your belt because they both have the little belt clip on the back. Let's see if I can snap that. I'm sure to snap pretty easy. Yeah. And so you actually can see a little bit bigger. They're just a tad. I mean, this one is just a teeny weeny bit bigger. Which one would I get? Would I get the $8 or would I get the $12? I think I might go with the $12 one just because it's going to be a little bit more heavy duty than this one. If I'm having this for a backpacking trip, or I'm carrying around with me for work, or if I need something substantial to do something with, I think this one's going to last longer than the $8 one. I'm not sure either one of them are the best multi-tool to get. If I was going to spend some money on a multi-tool, there's some other ones out there that are more survival multi-tools that have a fire starter or a fire steel with them. These do not have that. I'm still looking for the dream multi-tool that has both a fire starter and a substantial knife and a saw and a hacksaw blade on it. Because I'd love to have a multi-tool that has a hacksaw blade. I don't know that I need a bottle opener. I don't know that I need a file. What I need on a multi-tool is a hacksaw blade. If they come out, replace that file with a hacksaw blade, I'd be extremely happy, I think. For $12, $8, I don't think either one is a bad deal. I'm just not sure that's where I'm going to spend my money. But if you're going to buy one of these, I think the $12 one is probably the better deal because this one is just not made very substantial, and that little spring is going to pop out of there at some point. So with that, that's the review of the $8 Ozark Trail multi-tool and the $12 Ozark Trail multi-tool. Hope you have a blessed day. Stay strong, stay prepared, and we'll see you real soon right here on Cowboy Survival.